Hey everybody, it's Shaman Sister Sin, and you're listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by Earth Mama's Apothecary and littleshaman.org. That's me, the Little Shaman. Today I wanted to talk to you about the true battle people dealing with narcissists are facing. This is not an easy subject to address, but it's very important for people to understand the truth of it, so I thought we could address it on the show today. Narcissists are combative. They are contrary, they are contentious, they are arbitrary, they are obstinate. They will fight you tooth and nail. They will make everything into a contest and a competition. They will bully you, browbeat you, and bulldoze over you. Every single interaction with this person feels like hand-to-hand combat or psychological warfare. They will lie, cheat, steal, and more. They are never sorry. They are never honest. They are never real. They can be abusive, hateful, and vicious. Now, with all of those issues and more, it's easy to believe that the narcissist is the problem. And they are, as far as that goes. But narcissism does not exist in a vacuum. A relationship doesn't just have one person in it. The other person or people in the relationship are playing a part in the situation as well. And when we examine this situation closely and honestly, we might find that their part in the toxic dynamic is even more important than the pathologically narcissistic person's part. Now, there's no reason to split hairs here. The vast majority of pathologically narcissistic people are toxic. They are manipulative, controlling, and prone to abuse others. However, the victim's choices play a large part in this situation. It is the victim who gives the abuser their power, strange as that might sound. Unless the victim is a child, they have the choice to walk away from the situation, even from parents, even from siblings, even from their own adult children. For whatever reason, the victim has given their power to the abuser and often feels helpless to escape because of that. Unraveling the reasons behind this is the key to stopping the abuse. People often say that it isn't easy to walk away from the situation, whatever type of relationship it might be, and that's very true. It's not easy. It's hard. It may cost money. It may impact relationships with other loved ones that aren't the narcissistic person. The narcissist could create a smear campaign against you. There can be all kinds of outcomes, situations, and implications. But this is what it is. There's no way to escape the relationship with a pathologically narcissistic person without upsetting them. They like things the way they are, and they're invested in keeping them that way. But no one is going to suggest that people stay in a toxic, abusive situation just because it's hard to leave. There are ways to do anything if we really want to do it. It's up to the victim to decide which is harder, staying or going. It's not a decision anybody else can make. At some point, the person realizes that they're in a toxic or abusive situation. Most people then remove themselves from the situation when they make that realization. Others do not, and this is where self-examination comes into play. Usually the reasons we hear have to do with the narcissist. We often hear that they threatened all manner of things, up to and including suicide. And it's true. Narcissistic people will do everything they can to hang on to relationships and keep things the way that they are. People often feel responsible for the narcissist. They believe it's their responsibility to take care of this person or be there for them. The question is, why is another person's well-being more important than your own? This is not healthy. It's up to the victim to uncover the reasons why they believe this dynamic was okay. It's up to them to figure out how they got stuck in it. Many times we'll find that this is what victims have been taught. Many victims have been conditioned to believe since childhood that they're responsible for other people's emotions and other people's well-being. Many people who find themselves entangled with narcissists were the parentified children of alcoholics and addicts, or they were the abused and emotionally neglected children of narcissists. It's this same pattern that they're still living out in their adult lives, sometimes even with the very same people that conditioned them that way in the first place. For those who are in narcissistic romantic relationships, they may have been attracted to a person such as the narcissist because they're familiar with emotional unavailability and someone who loves conditionally or behaves unpredictably. This type of relationship feels like home. It feels like love. It lights up that trauma bond pathway that already exists in the brain. It's unfortunate that many people don't realize that familiar doesn't mean good or healthy. It just means familiar. If you were held hostage in a cell for 10 years and finally got out, sitting in the cell would feel familiar, but it would not be good. People who grew up with this type of conditioning often believe it's their responsibility to fix, help, and take care of other people. But on another level, they may be looking to redeem themselves through the abusive person. In pursuing the same unavailable or invalidating type of relationship from their childhood, they may believe on some level that they're going to make this person love them and finally prove to themselves and everybody else that they're lovable and that they're good enough. They may believe that they will be rewarded for their sacrifice with the love that they have always wanted but never got. It's much easier to say, I'm helping this person because they need help, than it is to say, I really want to prove that I'm lovable. And it's a lot harder to face that as well. The sad reality of it is that the victim's goal generally is not realized. This generally does not happen. The person ends up simply chasing something they're never going to get from the same type of person that never gave it to them to begin with. Maybe it might even be the same person in the case of a parent. Undoing that conditioning can be difficult. There's often a huge amount of guilt that accompanies the conditioning, as well as many other deep-rooted core issues that involve self-worth and self-esteem. These may be things that people aren't even aware of. For example, if asked why they give in to the narcissist manipulations, a person might say, well, I don't want them to think I'm mean. On its face, that's probably true. Nobody wants to be thought of as mean or cruel, especially by someone they care about. However, most people would realize that in this particular situation, the narcissist's accusations of cruelty and abuse are ridiculous. Why does the victim, who likely does realize that the narcissist is being ridiculous, still give in? Why does the victim still give in even though they know the accusations of abuse and cruelty are absurd? Maybe behind the desire to not be thought of as mean lurks the fear that they will not be loved or that they'll be abandoned if they don't give the narcissist what they want. Maybe the victim is carrying around unnecessary guilt that's not even attached to this situation, but that is affecting their decision making. There's all kinds of things that it could be. But the bottom line is that we react to things the way that we do for our own reasons and because of our own stuff. The narcissist is pushing our buttons, yes, but these are buttons that already exist inside of us. Our job is to identify those buttons and deactivate them so that no one can use them to control us anymore. Doing this can be painful, sometimes extremely painful, and it can be difficult. Getting beyond these things to make the decisions that are best for you is a huge fight in and of itself, but it's necessary in order to take care of yourself correctly. This is the biggest battle you will face in your journey, the battle with yourself and your own feelings. And it's the battle you've been fighting all along, whether you realize that or not. The narcissist is not controlling people. They're not puppet masters. They're not Svengali. All they're doing is provoking other people's emotions, and those are controlling them. The good news about that is you control your emotions. You decide how you react. Once you can get a handle on that, other people's control over you disappears. This can be a hard subject to talk about. People don't like to be asked why they accepted abuse in their life. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to have to answer that question. It's totally understandable. It's hard to face, and it's painful to talk about. Some people just aren't ready to end the situation yet, and that's what it is. That's all there is to it. There also may be those who say that this is victim blaming. No one is ever to blame for being abused by another person, and there's no excuse for anyone ever saying that they are. However, people can only run from the truth for so long. If the victim does not confront their own reasons for remaining in the situation at some point, they're likely going to find themselves back in the same situation again sooner or later. This is what we're trying to prevent. I hope this clears a few things up for you. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions, so please keep those coming. I take appointments online and over the phone Monday through Friday, so if you're interested in speaking with me one-on-one, you can visit littleshaman.org and click the Book an Appointment tab to do so, or you can use the link that's available in the information section of this video. You've been listening to the Meditations and More podcast brought to you by littleshaman.org. That's me, Little Shaman. May the Great Spirit bless you and have a wonderful day.